Hello and welcome back to Cycle Fab. I'm Larry. Hey, today I've got a review going on the Eastwood dual voltage powder coat gun, and I will be comparing that to the Harbor Freight that I have used for the last 2.5 years. Now the Harbor Freight is no longer in commission. It finally went down on me. So I had to upgrade to one of these. Now I'm sure that I made the right decision going with the dual voltage. This unit here costs $150. This one here costs $85. Now, if price has anything to do with it, obviously this will work better. But that's not always the case with equipment. We're going to find out in this review. Now, I went ahead and made the modifications to this gun that I have seen others do on YouTube. I do agree with those modifications because this unit here did exactly the same thing. When you get them, both units, the diffuser on the end is far too big for what most people use. Most people, like myself, do small parts, and having that large cloud of powder just doesn't work. Now in this video, I'll be doing some wheels off of the GS 550 Suzuki, and I'll be doing a two-tone. In other words, I'll be doing it all in one color first, come back, tape it off, and then put another coat on. The Harbor Freight gun did not do that very well. This gun, I'm sure will. So let's go ahead and get with that and see how this turns out. If you like the video, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Now you can see I already got a little bit of orange on there. Trying out the gun, setting the pressure. You want it set with the Eastwood in the direction between 5 and 10 PSI. And they say optimal performance is at 8. So that's where I've got this set at. Now the powder I'll be using is also Eastwood, is powder V-Twin orange. So we'll give this a go and see what happens. I have a feeling first coat's gonna be just pretty much like the Harbor Freight is when it was new. These guns really don't vary that much in power. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know on setting 2 for this gun, it is more powerful than the Harbor Freight. So when we go to put the second coat on over the first coat that will be already baked on there, then we'll really get the best test of the gun. I can honestly say that this gun is better than the Harbor Freight, even when the Harbor Freight was new. Now, I made no modifications to the Harbor Freight gun, but even if I did, I really don't think that it still would have performed as good as this one. It is set on the first setting, which is the lowest setting, and it's awesome, really. Compared to the Harbor Freight one, this one is top dog, definitely. I can tell that just by the first coat. I have not done this side yet, and you can already see that the powder is sticking to it coming from the other side. So the Harbor Freight didn't really do that. It did a little bit, but not to this extent. Now I am not depressing the trigger on the gun all the way. It comes out way too rapidly and I'll be wasting powder. Now there are some small areas in here, I'll try to show them to you on camera, that are not wanting to stick. I'm going to up the voltage on the Eastwood unit just to see if that will help. I can't really tell if that helped at all. It's right in here where these small radiuses are. It's sticking on some and not on the others. All right, it did a fantastic job, really. Again, I'm comparing it to what I know, and that is the Harbor Freight unit. The Harbor Freight unit is a good unit for a beginner, which I was at the time, and I have learned a little bit more. I am by no means a professional powder coater, but I have used the Harbor Freight for about 2.5 years. I have done quite a few powder coat projects. And really, this Eastwood is kicking the Harbor Freight's butt, honestly. Now I want to show you a little bit of a close-up of this and then taking this to the oven to get baked. Now I'm not sure how much of a close-up I can actually get with this camera and still have it in focus. Hopefully you guys can see this. I would have done the inner part of the wheel, but I am running low on powder and I still have the other wheel to do. This is out of the oven and cooled down now, and looking at it, it is really nice. The evenness of the powder coat is much better than what it was ever on the Harbor Freight. I'll give you guys a close-up of it. You'll see what I'm talking about. If you've done any powder coating before, if you get it on too thick, it's like getting paint on too thick. You get this orange peel ripply look. I really did not get that with this, although I did put it on a little thicker than what I intended to. It's going to take me a little while to get used to the Eastwood gun. But here's a close-up so you can get a better look at it. Everything is very nice and even on it. I really don't see any issues with it, none whatsoever. Everything is very good. Now I'm ready to put the second coat on. What I'll be using is Eastwood Flat Black, and you can't see it on camera, but I laid a pinstripe down right around the edge. Now it's a transparent tape. I wouldn't suggest using a transparent tape. It's a heat resistant tape. It doesn't leave any residue afterwards. This is what I had laying around the shop. So I think that'll come out okay. What I'm concentrating on right now is to see how well the powder will stick to the second coat. Now I'm going to turn the gun up to 25 kilovolts. And I found out that this runs on 15 kilovolts or 25 kilovolts. The Harbor Freight, I could find no information on as to what kilovolts. Other than a third party, which they said it was 15 kilovolts. I don't really believe that, just from what I've experienced so far. So far it seems to be sticking pretty well. It seems like I got a really good coverage. Like I said, it's going to take me a little while to get used to this particular gun. I'm only used to the Harbor Freight. And this one does seem to kick out quite a bit more powder, or wants to, and I need to allow it to do so instead of throttling back on the trigger like I have been doing. But I noticed after I depressed the trigger all the way like you're supposed to, I didn't have any problem with it sticking and going into the little tight areas, the tight radiuses and corners. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven, and you'll see the finished product. All right, I got the wheels out of the oven and they're cooled off, and I got the tape peeled off of it, as you can see, and the two-tone came out fine. It did very well with this. Bonding of the two coats, I really didn't have an issue with the Eastwood, as I did have with the Harbor Freight in previous use. Now, is it $50 better than the Harbor Freight? Yes, I do believe it is, without a doubt. Yeah, especially with the modifications that I made on the unit. Now, I don't know how it would have performed if I hadn't have made the modifications. Yeah, I think it still would have bonded better. Now, the pattern of spray, that's another issue entirely. That's just way too big. So cutting the spray pattern down really helped a lot as far as getting up into the little nooks and crannies. I'm very happy with the outcome, and if somebody were to ask me for $50 more, should I go ahead and get the Eastwood? I would have to say yes, without a doubt. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be seeing you guys next week. Thanks for watching.